कृष्ण। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरधारी, यशोदनन्दन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरावनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गौर प्रेमानंदे जय ओम विष्णुपाद सहस्रचार्य अष्टोत्तर डिवाइन ग्रेस अवैचन भक्तिदान स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद सहस्रचार्य अष्टोत्तर भक्तिदान सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत पुराण की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। ग्लोरीज टू द assembled duties, all glories to the assembled duties, all glories to Sri Guru and Gaur. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। श्रीमद्भागवतम कैंटो 10 chapter 47 text 11. So the title is the songs of the bee. कच्चिन्मधुकरं दृष्ट्वा, कच्चिन्मधुकरं दृष्ट्वा ध्यायन्ति कृष्णसङ्गमम्, ध्यायन्ति कृष्णसङ्गमम्। प्रिया प्रास्तपितं दूतं, प्रिया प्राष्टपितं दूतं। कल्पत इद्वेदम् अब्रवीत्, कल्प इत्वेदम् अब्रवीत्। कच्चिन्मधुकरं काचिन्मधुकरं दृष्ट्वा ध्यायन्ति कृष्णसङ्गमम् प्रिया प्रास्थपितं दीप्तं दूतं कल्पयित्वेदम् अब्रवीत्। Go ahead. काचिन्मधुकरं दृष्ट्वा काचिन्मधुरकरं ध्यायन्ति कृष्णसङ्गमम् प्रिया प्रास्थपितं दीप्तं काचिन्मधुकरं दृष्ट्वा ध्यायन्ति कृष्णसङ्गमम् प्रिया प्रास्थपितं दूतं कल्पयित्वेदम् अब्रवीत्। What word meaning? Kachit, one of the gopis, Madhukaram, a honeybee, Drishtva, seeing, Dhyayanti, while meditating, Krishna Sangamam, on her association with Krishna, Priya, by her beloved, Prastapitam, sent, Dutam, a messenger, Kalpitva, imagining it, Idam, the following, Abravit, spoke. Translation. One of the gopis, while meditating on her previous association with Krishna, saw a honeybee before her and imagined it to be a messenger sent by her beloved. Thus she spoke as follows. Srimati Radharani is referred to in this verse as Kachit, a certain gopi. To establish that this particular gopi is in fact Srimati Radharani, Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the following verse from the Agni Purana. Gopya Prapachur Ushashi Krishnanucharam Uddhavam Harilila Viharam Sha Tatrakigam Radhikam Vina Radha Tadbhava Samilina Vasanaya Viramita Sakhibi Shubhayadi Shura Vijnana Kunja Junbritam Vidyante Vashanam Veda Charamamsa Vibhavana. At dawn, the gopis inquired from Krishna's servant, Uddhava, about the Lord's pastimes and recreation. Only Srimati Radharani, immersed in thought of Krishna, withdrew her interest in the talks. Then Radha, who is worshipped by the residents of her Vrindavan village, spoke up in the midst of her girlfriends. Her words were full of pure transcendent knowledge and expressed the ultimate portion of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna states, Vedascha sarver aham eva vedya. By all Vedas I am to be known. To know Krishna is to love Krishna, and thus Radharani, by her own example and words, revealed her supreme love for the Lord. Having quoted the above verses from the Agni Purana, Srila Jiva Goswami also quotes the following from Narsimha Tapani Upanishad. Purvakanda 2.4 Yam sarve deva namanti mumukshavo brahma Brahmavadanascha. All the demigods and all the transcendental philosophers who desire liberation bow down to the Supreme Lord. We should follow. Wait. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjanashlakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavbhyo namo namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The title is The Song of the Bees. The translation. One of the gopis, while meditating on her previous association with Krishna, saw a honey before her and imagined it to be a messenger sent by her beloved. Thus she spoke as follows. This wonderful pastimes, the song of the bee. Here the gopis are meditating association with Krishna through a bee here. One of the gopis, while meditating on her previous association with Krishna, saw a honey bee before her and imagined it to be a messenger sent by her beloved. Thus she spoke as follows. Seeing Krishna in everything here. So the gopis are always absorbed in Krishna 24/7. That's what Krishna consciousness. Because this body will be changing, childhood, youth. This is a material body. Material body is temporary. But spiritual activities will never go in. That's why this whole process of Krishna conscious to be Krishna conscious. We have to vaccinate with this injection, deep Krishna, 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 Krishna always. So that's what here it says. One of the gopis, while meditating on her previous association with Krishna, saw a honey before her and imagined it to be a messenger sent by her beloved. So the bee is compared to a messenger. She is thinking of Krishna, she's meditating on previous association. So association is so important in our spiritual life. Association of a Mahatma, a great soul. Srimad Bhagavad Gita it says Mahatma. How one can become a Mahatma, a great soul, by associating with a great Mahatma, a pure devotee of the Lord, representative of the Lord. Similarly, the gopis, they are the greatest, topmost pure devotees of the Lord. They are always absorbed in Krishna in all their activities, whether they are doing household activities or any other activity. They are always remembering Krishna. So here is a honeybee. See, saw a honeybee. Prabhupada gives many examples of honeybee. So there is only one question: people going this way or that way? That's where is money? Where is money? Sweeter than honey. Day duty, night duty, money, money, honey. So many examples are given. So money will buy the basic thing: eat, sleep, defend, gratify, sense, which is available in law life. But human life is to elevate our consciousness. That's why human life is very rare opportunity to become Krishna consciousness. Human life is meant for self-realization. Srila Prabhupada, in this Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the whole process is to be Krishna consciousness. All our activities, hearing, remembering, worshipping, is all to be Krishnized. So here it says, previous saw a honeybee. Honeybee, yeah, the bee has, also Prabhupada gives many examples on honeybee. Honeybee always seeks after honey, bee. The bee always seeks honey, but the bee always seeks after honey. But there is another, there's fly, it always seeks after unclean places. So devotee should be like a honey bee, should not find faults in other devotees. And that's the nature of the conditioned souls. The honey bee is always sees good in others, like a honey bee should be honey. Honey's example is given. Honey, if you keep in a bottle, very nice clean bottle, it can stay for a long time. So Srila Prabhupada's disciples says that the sugar then will attract the ant. So Srila Prabhupada gives this material world is like that. People are mad after sense gratification. They are wasting their life, sense gratification, life after life. And they are like being trapped, like the ant takes all the risk, goes in the honey and becomes stuck. For sense gratification, one is working very hard and is risking his life. So the example of bee in many ways, Prabhupada gives example. Or we can see we can see all on the streets, all and dogs, nature's call. His whole contamination actually. It says like the conch is pure. It's a bone made of bone. It's animal bone. When we touch animal bone, it's impure. Or when we nature call, we have to take bath. It says like that. So it become contaminated. So yes, we can see all the streets, all unclean. The flies sit over there. So one should not become like a fly. One should become like a honey, like a bee. So it's very nice. Lot of examples. I'll be reading on that and meditating on Krishna. That's meditation in this age of Yoga. Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. By glorifying Krishna, always Kirtanya Sadahari, always glorifying Krishna. Srimati Radharani's referred to this verse as Kachit, a certain gopi, to establish that this particular gopi is in fact Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani has to be in this verse as Kachit, a certain gopi, to establish this particular gopi is in fact Srimati Radharani. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the following verse from the Agni Puran. Srimati Radharani's effort in this Kachit, a certain gopi, to a particular gopi is in fact Srimati Radharani. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the verse from the Agni Puran. Kachit, one of the gopis. So gopis, there are 108 gopis. Out of that, 8 are the topmost gopis. So one Radharani is the topmost devotee of all the devotees. That's why in Vrindavan they say Radhe Radhe. In other place we chant Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada recommended Radha is the topmost devotee of the Lord. And when we offer to Krishna, we say to Radharani, please, I brought this offering for Krishna, please offer this to Krishna through Guru Parampara, like that. One can understand this knowledge through Guru Parampara only, disciplic succession, not through our mental speculation. One may be very learned scholar, so that's why it's very important to take this knowledge from the purports. Without understanding the purports, we cannot understand the scriptures. So we take knowledge from a bona fide spiritual master. So it's coming from Krishna, Brahma, Narad, Vyasdev, like that. At dawn, the gopis inquired from Krishna's servant, Uddhava. At dawn, the gopis inquired from Krishna's servant, Uddhava, about the Lord's pastime and recreation. Only Srimati Radharani, immersed in thought of Krishna, withdrew her interest in the talks. Then Radha is worshipped by the residents of her Vrindavan village, spoke up in the midst of her girlfriends. So it's the evening sunset time during, and the gopis were inquiring about Krishna to Uddhava. So Uddhava, in this style, the gopis saw Uddhava similar like Krishna here, 400 form. He was very beautifully, not 400. Here wore the dress, yellow dress, and his all the limbs of his body like similar like lotus. Comparison was given, and the gopis took Uddhava to a lonely place and inquired about Krishna. And so this is the pastimes about. So Uddhava was sent by Krishna to console the gopis and the residents of Vrindavan and his parents. Only Srimati Rani, immersed in the thought of Krishna, withdrew her interest in talks. Then Radha, who is worshipped by the residents of her Vrindavan village, spoke up in the midst of her girlfriends. Her words were full of pure transcendental knowledge and expressed the ultimate portion of the Vedas. So ultimate, all the Vedas, it says Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedya vedanta krit vedachaham. So of all this Vedic knowledge is to understand Krishna, to know our Krishna. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoviti taktva deham punar janma neti imam iti so Arjuna. Krishna's pastimes all are transcendental. They are all pure. So one who understands this thing, he won't accept another material birth. So that's why we are changing this body. We are practicing Krishna consciousness. This will never go vain. This body will be changing, he says. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Vedescha sarver aham evedya. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. To know Krishna is to love Krishna. And thus Srimati Radhini, by her own example and words, revealed her supreme love for the Lord. So the essence is to develop love for Krishna. The whole this is one has to develop Krishna. The love is misplaced in something temporary things that has to be focused on Krishna. So this holy name of the Lord, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama hi Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva Nasteva Gatiranyata. In this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, this vibration is the most powerful, effective age. It's an ocean of faults. So it says, by all the Vedas I am to be known. To know Krishna is to love Krishna. And thus Srimati Radharani, by her own example and words, revealed the supreme love for the Lord. Having quoted the above verses from the Agni Purana, Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the following from the Narasimha Purana Upanishad. Yam sarve deva namanti mumukshava brahmo vadinas. All the demigods are all the transcendental philosophers who desire liberation, bow down to the Supreme Lord. We should follow the same thing. So we can see in the Srimad Bhagavatam in all pages, it says all the demigods and all the transcendental philosophers who desire liberation bow down to the Supreme Lord. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shoshati Kankshati. When one is on the soul platform, not on the bodily platform, he will be always happy. So all activities on this, when we do on soul, nature is spiritual, pure. It says here, all the demigods and all the transit philosophers desire liberation, bow down to the Supreme Lord. We should follow. So all activities, spiritual activities, one should conduct his whole day in Krishna consciousness. Is to keep always engaged in Krishna service. And here it says one should bow down before the deity. So all these are the different examples of the demigods and the philosophers, and we should follow that. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, always think of me, offer my obeisance to me, and become my devotee. So this is a translation of purport. The gopis were meditating, seeing a honeybee, and they were thinking of Krishna, the beloved. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Radharani is the topmost devotee, and all the gopis were inquiring about Krishna through Uddhava. And ultimate essence of all Vedas is to know Krishna. And Radharani is the topmost devotee, and she is showing her love for Krishna. To know Krishna is to love Krishna. And Radharani is showing her own example from Krishna. So I'll read some few of this 1 to 10 on this chapter, the translation, and then we can go further. Sukadeva Goswami said, the young women of Braja became astonished upon seeing Lord Krishna's servant, who had long arms, whose eyes resembled a newly grown lotus, who wore a yellow garment and a lotus garland, and his lotus-like face glowed with brightly polished earrings. Who is this handsome man? The gopis asked. Where has he come from, and whom does he serve? He is wearing Krishna's clothes and ornament. Saying this, the gopis eagerly crowded around Uddhava, and whose shelter was the lotus feet of Lord Uttama Shloka, Sri Krishna. So seeing Uddhava, all of the gopis surrounded Uddhava. He was resembling like Krishna. He had a lotus. His eyes resembled like a newly grown lotus, and who wore a yellow garments. This is the first beginning of this chapter. And bowing their heads in humility, the gopis duly honored Uddhava with their shy, smiling glances and pleasing words. They took him to a quiet place, seated him comfortably, and began to question him for they recognized him to be a messenger from Krishna, the master of the goddess of fortune. So here also we can see here the gopis are bowing the head in humility. The gopis duly honored Uddhava with their shy smiling glance. So humility and offering obeisance, second verse. First was Uddhava. So devotee means he should be blissful, that's what. Actually, here it says, here is the example of Uddhava is given here. All activities should be on transcendental platform, nothing on material. One has to practice. That's what Krishna consciousness meant, to become on the transcendental platform. Because the body is temporary, it will change. So we can see in this pastimes of the bees, the gopis, when they saw Uddhava, he was resembling like Krishna only. It was so like that. And then they are offering very nice, humbly obeisances and inquiry. We knew that you are the personal servant of Krishna, the chief of Yadus, that you have come here on the order of your good master, who desires to give pleasure to his parents. We see nothing else he might consider worth remembering in this cow pasture. Indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family are difficult to break, even for a sage. Here it says, we see nothing else he might consider worth remembering in this cow pasture. Indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break, even for a sage. It's so strong, this family member. Even Kunti Maharani is praying that, my affection to my family members break. So I remember you, Krishna, always. You put me in more trouble, so I can think of you, Krishna. So here also it says, indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break even for a sage. We are nothing else he might consider worth remembering in this cow pasture. Indeed, the bonds of affection for one's families are difficult to break even for it. That's why it says grahastha, grahamedi and grahastha. Grahastha means keeping center Krishna, and grahamedi means his personal sanity. It's also said in the Bhagavad Gita, one cannot be yogi unless he becomes free from sense gratification or sensual attraction. So it says, indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family was difficult to break even for a sage. So Grahamedi household life is compared to a dark well. One falls in a dark well, it's very difficult to get out. So it says, indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family must difficult to break even for a sage. We see nothing else he might consider worth remembering in this vow, because many lives, we have many parents, many family members, life after life. But our ultimate family is in the spiritual world, where it's eternal knowledge and blissful, where everybody is serving Krishna. Krishna is the center of the material world, means enviousness. Here it says, we see nothing else he might consider worth remembering in this cow pasture Vraja. Indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break even for a sage. The friendship show towards others, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interest, and thus it is pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled. Such friendship is just like the interest men take in women or bees in flowers. It's very wonderful. Nice quotes are given here. The friendship shown towards others, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interest, and thus it is pretense that lasts until only one's purpose is fulfilled. The friendship shown towards others, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interest, and thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled. Such friendship is less like the interest man take in women or bees in flowers. So material world means perverted reflection. Like on the ocean or in the river, the trees are upside down. In the shadow, there is no real happiness. So whatever happiness in this material world is based on give and take. So when there is no selfish sense gratification, there's diverse. When there is no pay, there is no work. So there's not real love here in this material world. But here is an example saying, when the friendship shown towards others, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interest, and thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled. So we are showing friendship to others or family members is our own personal interest. And it is only under one purpose. Such friendship, just like in the interest man takes in women or bees in flowers. Hare Krishna. Wherever we see this attraction is very prominent. Man and woman, material world is called shackles of sense. Another says, prostitute abandon a penniless man subjects as an incompetent king. Students the teacher. Once they have finished their education and preached the man who has remunerated them for a sacrifice. Different examples are given is prostitute abandon a penniless man. The man has no wealth and she is just looking after the subjects on an incompetent king. Man subjects and income. Students that teacher, once they have finished their education, so once our education is there, we forget teacher, students that teacher. A different example is given here. It's prostitute example given, and then an incompetent king, then students the teacher, and a priest a man who has remembered them for a sacrifice. Who has remunerated them for a sacrifice. Birds abandon a tree when its fruits are gone. Guest a house after they have eaten animals. A forest that has burned down. And a lover the woman he has enjoyed, even though she remains attached to him. Another example is given. Birds abandon a tree when its fruits are gone. Guest a house after they have eaten. Animals a forest that has burned down. And a lover the woman he has enjoyed, even though she remains attached to him. Thus speaking, the gopis, whose bodies and minds were fully dedicated to Lord Govinda, put aside all their regular work. Now their Krishna's messengers, Siddha, around among them, constantly remembering the activities their beloved Krishna had performed in his childhood and youth. They sang about them and cried without shame. Hare Krishna. So nice examples are given here of these relationships of this material world, the friendship, the family members, the birds, and unchaste woman, teacher, student, how they abandon all this in this material world. It's good. So there's a gopis were remembering Krishna, giving the example. Krishna had gone to Mathura and he had said Uddhava, and the gopis were in Vrindavan in separation. They were in So we will write something on meditation. It's very nice. Srila Prabhupada what says meditation on the B also will be. If you want, there is no power in this world that can be impediments to your engaging in devotional service. So, if we want, he says, Prabhupada says, there is no power in this world that can be impediment to your engaging in devotional service. So a devotee prays that always I should remember Krishna in all situations, whether I am in hellish condition or wherever I am, that he is always remember Krishna. Satatam kirtayantu mam. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So that's also in Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse, Yogi nam api sarvesham mat katen antaratmana shraddhavan bhajatim. Yogi, ultimates, the super soul is within our heart. So when we are serious, when we are sincere, Krishna is within our heart. We can see Krishna. That's perfection. Hare Krishna. It's within everyone's heart, super soul. In a ant's body also, in a bee body also. So, if you want, there is no power in this world that can be impediment to your engaging in devotional service. What a nice statement. So there's no level, no loss. So we can see the world is all news, always bad news is increasing. Our attention to this is going very quick. This thing has caught everybody. Everybody is a victim of this, slaves of the senses now. So strong, it is so much time we are wasting on this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Savai Mana Krishna Padarvindu. Maharaj Amrish, he engages his mind in Krishna, he's seeing the beauty of Krishna. So when one engages in deity worship, and the time will come, he will be so much absorbed in this, he cannot forget Krishna. Krishna is so beautiful. Krishna's form, Krishna's name, Krishna's flute, Krishna's dress, Krishna's garland, Krishna's necklace, they're all beautiful. They all attract you. And when it's fully absorbed in, then there will be ecstatic symptoms, ecstatic emotions. Okay. So these are all when connected to Krishna, Krishna's prasadam. So actually meditation means, austerity means to become free from sense gratification, from attraction to sensual. So austerity means to give up sinful life, austerities. No, the attraction to opposite is austerity is one has to lead a pure life. Let's say. If you say says if you want, there is no power in this world that can be impediment to your engaging in devotional service. There's no power in this world. We can see in this pastimes of gopis, they were so much, they were in the family life, but they were in Krishna. Uddhava was a very exalted devotee of Krishna. Before we read about Akrura, he was meditating on Krishna. Even seeing the bee, they are remembering Krishna. He says, if you want, there is no power in this world that can be impediment to your engaging devotional service. Devotional service is so nice. Srila Prabhupada gave us this wonderful process of Krishna consciousness. We are so fortunate. And if we take it, if we are sincere, Krishna, it's up to us now. How sincere, how serious we are. Ahetuki apritiyata yahatma suprasidati. So if someone is engaged in pure devotional service, then the soul is very blissful. This ahetuki. So if someone is engaged in pure devotional service, then the soul is very blissful. Hare Krishna. To stay in a temple is, you need a lot of, or to lead a brahmachari life is very pure life. Brahmachari, you need a lot of pious credit, previous life and this life. But in whatever situation, brahmachari, ashram, grahastha ashram, they're all called ashramas. It says, Thanis, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, one should remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. One should develop love for Krishna. He says, not theoretical knowledge. I am not this material body. I am Brahman. Brahma Bhuta. We have this Brahman. The soul is definitely blissful because all the miseries are due to our material knowledge. Till we go on accepting a material body, we'll always be in full of anxiety. Very nice. You see, all the miseries are due to our material knowledge. Bhakti Vinod Thakur also says this. Jad Vidya Mayar Vaibhav. Jad Vidya means this mundane knowledge is this Maya is Maya's this. It makes an animal, like he has to work very hard. Jad Vidya Mayar Vaibhav. He says here one has to work very hard. Modern education teaches to work hard. That's what it says. There's only one question: this way or that way. You ask anybody, where is money? Where is money? Hare Krishna. Sweeter than they money. So bees collect the honey and make a hive. They want to be happy, enjoy. But everybody is thinking, I'll be happy in this way, this way. There's no question of happiness in this. He's just struggling hard. He says, the soul is definitely blissful because all the miseries are due to our material knowledge. Till we go on accepting a material body, we'll always be full in anxiety. When we can see a sparrow, it's looking always here and there. It's eating a grain, but it's full of anxiety. Not only a sparrow, animals, birds. Now human beings have increased their anxiety. It says here, till we go on accepting a material body, we'll always be full in anxiety. So this so different realization is, Krishna says to Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, this knowledge I'm imparting, this is perfection. This is Bhagavan's realization. The knowledge Krishna spoke to Arjuna, that's Bhagavad Gita, it says. This is Bhagavan realization. Impersonal realization is for liberation. So here it says, till we go on accepting a material body, we'll always be full in anxiety. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dukhalyam Ashashvatam. This material world is a place of miseries. It's temporary and full of. Krishna has given this title, this material world, where repeated birth, death, old age, disease is going on continuously. Tat sadhu manye asura, this is Prahlad Maharaj says, Tat sadhu manye asurya varyadenam sada samudvigna. Till we have this material body, we'll always be samudvigna, full of anxiety. So nobody is free from anxiety. As long as we have this body, we'll always be in anxiety, full of anxiety. The material world of three modes of different qualities. You have to keep yourself always antiseptic, pure by remembering Krishna. Very nice quote. Very nice. The material world
of three modes of different qualities. You have to keep yourself always antiseptic, pure by remembering Krishna. That is the process. As soon as you forget Krishna, immediately the infection of Maya immediately affects you. It's just like a shadow. Shadow is always following you. Similarly, as soon as we forget Krishna, that's Maya. It says the material world of three modes of different qualities. You have to keep always antiseptics. We all in this material world. We are all influenced with these modes of nature. It says you have to keep yourself always antiseptic. You have to keep yourself always antiseptic, pure by remembering Krishna. That is the process. Smartavyam Vishnu. Yes, also there's a mantra that we recite. Om apavitrava pavitrava sarva. In whatever situation, internal, external, one should remember Krishna in unclean or unclean side. As soon as you forget Krishna, immediately the infection Maya immediately affects you. It's very nice. Material world is full of contamination. As soon as you forget Krishna, immediately the infection of Maya immediately affects you. Krishna bhuliya jeev bhogwancha kare. Maya. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, I am the master. So when we understand Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarva Lokamesham, the center should be Krishna. Everything should be performed for Krishna pleasure. We eat food which is offered to Krishna. We don't eat food which is not offered to Krishna. Everything connected with Krishna. Without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. There, Srila Prabhupada says, therefore I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. Without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna consciousness is like a fence. Once come to Krishna consciousness, you cannot give Krishna consciousness. Whatever little endeavor we do in Krishna consciousness will never go vain. Hare Krishna. So this very nice. This is says there is no power in this world that can be impediment in engaging in devotional service. And if one is engaged in pure devotional service, then the soul will be very joyful. And we have to understand we are not this material body, and when we come to the soul platform, we'll be blissful. All these miseries are due to our material knowledge. As long as we will be accepting body, we'll always be in full of anxiety. So then the three modes of nature, we have to keep always antiseptic by remembering Krishna. We have to remember, always be pure. And without the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Srila Prabhupada says, on honey I said, go on meditation. Krishna bada daya mein kari bajivai. You know, Krishna is very kind. He has offered us this prasadam. Take it. Control your tongue. So this is all in one line. Mind, tongue, belly. They are all. There's a push of the mind. There's a push of the tongue. There's a push of belly. One has to control through prasadam. Krishna is very kind. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yogi nam api sarvesham matkaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatmata. So this Krishna consciousness movement means to train people to become the topmost yogi. Because they have controlled their senses, no meat eating, no intoxication, not even smoking or drinking tea. This is yoga. Not that simply by pressing nose one becomes yogi, practical life. After performing yoga, oh my tongue is now dry, give me one bidi. Bidi means like a cigar. One bidi, that is not yoga system, practice. Hare Krishna. So here it says here, yogi nam api sarvesham, of the topmost yogi is always who is remembering Krishna. So this Krishna conscious movement, Prabhupada says, means to train people to become the topmost yogi because they have controlled their senses. Krishna consciousness is meant to become the topmost yogi, means to become free from sinful life. No meat eating, no intoxication, not even smoking or drinking. This is yoga. Not simply by pressing nose one becomes yogi, practical life. After performing yoga, oh my tongue is now dry, give me one bidi. One bidi, that is not yoga. Smoking ganja, bidi, intoxication, tea, he has become a yogi. These are useless, all bogus. Yoga means he has controlled his senses. Yoga practice means controlling the senses, engaging the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. That is yoga system. Previously, you had asked this question, what is yoga, right? Srila Prabhupada says yes. Yeah. Yoga practice is not smoking or doing all sinful life. Yoga means to control the senses. Means controlling and engaging the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. That is yoga. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra. There's nice Vaishnav songs. Maduram Maduram Madhuradipati. Maduram Maduram. That's nice. And there's a lot of Vaishnav songs are there. So nice. प्रलयपयोधिजलेदितवान् शिवेदं केशवद्रीता मीनशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. So powerful these songs are, Vaishnava songs. We can engage our mind in Krishna's kirtan, these Vaishnava bhajans, and they are so much meaningful. So here it says, meditation, always seeing the lotus feet of Krishna. Nowadays they have manufactured some meditation. So Madhuram, Madhuram, Krishna's whole bodily features are very sweet. They are compared like honey, bee, like different one. Nice. That is real. Meditation not meant for this age. Meditation meant for the Satyuga. What is that? Krite yadhyato. Krite means Satyuga. We know that in Kali Yuga we should think of Krishna. That is real meditation. Kali Yuga, that's a real meditation. In different ages, there were different processes. Satyuga, there was meditation. Treta Yuga, temple worship. Dwapara Yuga, Satyuga, Treta, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga. Yeah, Dwapara Yuga was temple worship. Treta Yuga, Satyuga, meditation. Okay, yeah. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Madhyam, Dasyam. Out of these 9 methods, all the 9 or 8, 7, 6, even 1 if you engage yourself, like Maharaj Parikshit, he engaged himself simply for hearing, he became perfect. Simply by hearing Bhagavad from Sukadeva Goswami, and Sukadeva also became perfect. Simply by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Vishnu Smaranam. This is also Kirtana. So this is also Kirtana. We are chanting from Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada was so, he gave the whole process from morning to night. Mangalarti, then we have Guru Puja, then we have Srimad Bhagavatam, always glorifying Krishna. It says here, it says Sri Vishnu here. Sukadeva Goswami became simply by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Vishnu Swaram, Sravanem Parikshit Abhyut. This is also Kirtana. Abhavad Vaisha Kirtane. Prahlad Maharaj. He was put into so many difficulties by father. He could not resist. He was a poor child, 5 years, and the rascal father was teasing him in so many ways. So what could he do? He was simply thinking of Krishna. What can I do? So there are so many nice processes, so many processes. If you take one of the processes, your life will be successful. Simply of thinking of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says, any of the process can take to Krishna consciousness. There are 9 processes in devotional service. Srinivatam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, Dasyam. And Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Prahlad Maharaj. Janma karma cha me divyam yo janiti uta. One who can know yo janati tatva. To whom Krishna reveals, he can know. He can know what is Krishna. And as soon as you done this business, you understood Krishna. Then tyaktva deyam, no more birth in this material world. So in this verse, translation purport says of Janma karma cha me divyam, Srila Prabhupada says, who can know? Who Krishna reveals. To whom Krishna reveals, he can know. He can know what is Krishna. And as soon as you have done this business, you have understood Krishna, then tyaktva deyam punajanma. No more birth in this material world. To take birth in this material world because you have got this body. Therefore, we have to suffer threefold miseries. We are trying to make adjustment to become happier. It says we foolishly. So there are 3 miseries always, the body, mind, and other living entities. It says, you are trying to make adjustment to become happier. It is not possible. This place is recommended by Krishna. Dukhalyam ashvasadam. A person is working whole day hard. End of the day, he will eat or sleep or squeeze his senses, sense gratification. It says they are trying many arrangements in building skyscrapers, different cars, varieties of cars. It's good. Material advancement is good, but how you utilize it says you are trying to make adjustment to become happier. It is not possible because this place is recommended by Krishna Dukhalyam. It is a place of miseries. How you can become happier? This is illusion. You can never be happy in this material world, but you are trying to become happy. So many politicians, social workers, simply wasting their time. They cannot. You have to accept the leadership of Krishna, then you will be happy. This is what's going on all over the world now. Yeah? They are trying so much plans, so much things, debates and going on. War, this weapons, that weapons. They're trying to become happy in this world. Hitler had a plan, Europe. Gandhi had a plan. He was in India. There were many Gandhis. Then here, Kennedy, he was going in the procession. He was shot dead. Hitler did suicide. He worked so hard. So, in this material world, Krishna has given this title. You cannot make it a nice place. This is illusion. You can never be happy in this material world, but you're trying to be happy. So many politicians, social workers, they're simply wasting their time, simply wasting time. It is. So Prabhu also says, you have time, chant Hare Krishna. You have to accept the leadership of Krishna, then you will be happy. You accept the leadership of rascals, fools, you cannot be happy. Demons, they will put you in difficulties. You if accept the leadership of rascals, fools, you cannot be happy. Demons, they will put you into difficulties. Hare Krishna. So now people are now just this evening. One gentleman was speaking about that the students have burned so many buses. They are now uncontrollable. So this is going on all over the world. Srila Prabhupada already told everything this year. So this what's going on. So this is going on all over the world. People are frustrated because on account of these rascal leaders. They are taking the position of leadership, but they are all rascals and fools. They cannot lead. If you want to be happy, take actual leadership of Krishna, then you will be happy. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Dandavas. Hare Krishna. So meditation means on Krishna. The topmost yogis should always remember Krishna. Senses should be engaged in Krishna. Krishna is. Any comments? Any questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I kept thinking back to the bee and just comparing the bee to many things that we have in the material world, and then at the same time with Krishna and the bittersweet of the bee's nature. Because if you follow the bee, you go to the honey, nectar, and the sweetness and Krishna. But then if you mess with the bee, you get stung, and that's kind of Maya. You keep messing with it, you get stung by the bee. So I coming back to that, because as soon as we forget Krishna, we get stung by the bee, by Maya. So that was a theme that was playing in my head as the lecture was going on. It kept coming back to my mind, different examples of it, of the bee. And I know that the song of the bee is a little bit different, but I kept thinking back of the bee's nature and how it relates back to Krishna consciousness and us. So I appreciate it. It was very helpful.
Yes. Nice. Bee. The example of the bee is given. Bee is always, nature is always right. The bee makes a hue and they want to be enjoy, but the nature is of stinging, biting. So same with money also. Money is day duty, night duty, underwater, battlefield, wells. Hare Krishna. So when you go for money, there are so much troubles. So, but it's never coming in our hand. It's running further and further. And we are running like a mirage. In the mirage, there's no water. The grass is not green, it's gray. So one should understand the nature of the world is temporary. This body is temporary, and material activities are all temporary. Actually, one has to somehow or other remember Krishna in all situations. Never forget Krishna. One should develop our love for Krishna. That's what. More comments, questions? Hare Krishna. Prabhu, say something. Yeah, Prabhupada also wanted to make this society a honeycomb. Like nice. Hare Krishna.
I think everything flowed really nicely. I did connect with the honeybee as well. Um, It was like honeybee. A devotee should live like honeybees, steady at work. Also, curating something sweet. I wanted to know, like, if you wrote that or if that came from somewhere else.
Oh, I have four defects. Whatever is coming from Krishna, pure represent Guru Parampara.
It was beautiful. I was like, it like really stuck. I learned today that there are 108 gopis. Yeah, just everything. I like the term antiseptic. That was cool. Remember, Krishna, and it'd be like it just relates as far as like being really clean. Yeah, I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, one should hear from a bona fide spiritual master as a self-realized soul. So these are all the words from Sadhu, Guru and Shastra. If one wants to make one's life perfect, he has to follow the instructions Sadhu, Guru and Shastra. These are the saintly persons, the scriptures and the devotees. So there's theoretical knowledge and there's practical knowledge. Theoretical knowledge is based on body. So knowledge, once the soul's nature is spiritual, blissful, and based on getting spiritual activities. Without Krishna consciousness, life is full of misery. One has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and its pure representative. Then one will be happy. Yeah, we have plans, so much plans, because we are conditioned, we are always diverted. Krishna says one has to be focused. In this life, I'll make perfection. Like a child walks, falls down, but the walking tendency is there. One should not give Krishna consciousness. One should be very determined, I should be Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada also said, we have given many lives to Maya. Give this one life for Krishna. Hare Krishna. But whatever the spiritual activities will never go vain. Even if we don't complete it, we'll begin from where we ended it. So this is a good point. Hare Krishna.
The point you brought up about, austerity allows one to live a pure life.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting idea that practicing austerity allows for elevation of consciousness and for coming to know Krishna or love Krishna. It's almost like a delayed gratification in one sense, because on the material side, when you're thinking about enjoyment, it's more like the end in itself. It's very short term. So it's an interesting idea that there's a kind of delayed happiness. So I was just thinking that it's interesting that is a kind of purity. So anyway, those are some thoughts that came from your statement.
Yeah, Srimad Bhagavad Gita says peacefulness, purification of existence, cultivation of knowledge, austerity is all divine qualities. One should develop these qualities. Like a Vaishnava means he has to develop 26 qualities. The Vaishnavas. Yeah, so when he becomes a Vaishnava, he develops all these good qualities. Always one should be very sincere, one should be very serious in Krishna consciousness in this life. And it's possible. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, it's possible. In the association of devotees, one can perform devotional service. So that's why association of devotees is very powerful. When we come in together, when we discuss about Krishna, it becomes more powerful when we hear about Krishna. Austerity, Krishna also says, Yagya Dana Tapasya, one should not give up this charity, sacrifice, austerity, and penance, austerity. So one should not give up, purifies great soul also. And also there is austerity of speech, there is austerity of words, that many austerities are there. But real austerity means to become free from sinful life, become pure Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Puran ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.